Hello. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Hi. We're going to share some things about being a family with triplets. So, something that I learned while having triplets is that mom time doesn't exist. Mom time doesn't exist unless somebody's here to be the mom for you while you go have mom time. Another thing, just because your triplets are identical or not does not mean that they will act the same. They are individual people and they will act like individual people. Anna loves, what does Anna love to do? Do you know
Play.
it? What?
Play.
Yes, Anna loves to play. And Isabella loves to smile. Huh? Yeah. And she loves her daddy. She is a daddy's girl. And Violet, do you remember what Violet likes to do?
Sit on the couch.
Yes, Violet loves the snuggles and she loves to be tickled. That's her favorite thing to play. Tickle, tickle, tickle. When you have an older child or a younger child than the triplets, that older child gets neglected or forgotten. And that's very real. And people wanted to give me identical outfits for the girls. And in the beginning, I told them, no, you don't do that. Just get separate outfits. Separate outfits is fine. And a lot of people still gave me identical outfits, which again is fine. They're outfits. They're cute. They're fun. But I never put them in them at the same time. There were rare occasions that I did. But I always made sure that Ivy had something that matched or was identical. The problem with getting triplets identical outfits is then Big Sissy doesn't get one. And then she's left out. And that's not fair. So after a while, I started telling people, if you buy identical outfits, you need to buy an identical outfit for Big Sissy because she needs to be included. Okay, another thing is clothes. Sure, you need a lot of clothes, but you also need to have the room for the clothes. You would not believe the amount of laundry that I have to do weekly because of how dirty the triplets get. And Ivy. A myth about triplets, though, is that you have to have gobs and gobs and gobs of clothes, which actually isn't very true. The truth is, you need at least 2 outfits per day, which equals out to be about 14 outfits per child. Everybody wants to have mom time. And some days are really, really hard, especially when they are teething. When they're teething, they all want to come and snuggle with me. The problem is, I only have enough room on my lap for 2 kids. I don't have enough room for 3 or 4, or whatever. And they fight with each other too. If I'm holding more than one, they tend to want to fight each other. So it makes it really, really, really hard to give them the attention that they want. So generally what I will do is set one of them next to me with a book and another one on my lap with a book and then one sitting obviously on the other side of me with another book. And then we'll just kind of chill and read together. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. We're trying to get off the bottle now and they only have them at night now. Which is progress. Triplets is really, really hard to accomplish everything that you need to in a timely manner. Things that need to be done when you would assume that they should be done. Like Ivy was pretty much potty trained at 18 months. These babies are 18 months and we haven't even tried the potty yet. Okay, another triplet myth. You can't leave the house if you have triplets. That is false. I go to the store all the time with my triplets, and we have fun. And big sister gets to pick out a snack for herself, and I get to have sanity with the rest of humankind. When you do leave the house, you have to be extremely prepared. And sometimes that's hard when you have 3 babies who poop at different times and they're all still in diapers. And when one of them wants to eat a little bit more that day than the others, or one is more fussy than the others, timing it is very appropriate. You must time it just right. This is what I do. After their nap, I'll change their butts and I'll feed them their lunch or their snack, whatever it is. And then we go. That's how it works for us. That's how I found it was most efficient. Other people might have other ways that it works for them, and that's great too. Beds. So I get this question a lot. People ask if they wake each other up because they all share a room, and they don't wake each other up. But that's because they've been in the same room since they were born, and before that they all shared mommy's tummy. So no, they don't wake each other up at night, and I think that most twin mamas would agree with that. They don't. All right, here's some advice on how to keep your sanity. Plan for everything before it needs to happen. Plan breakfast before it needs to happen. Plan nap time before it needs to happen. And plan lunch and dinner and bedtime before it needs to happen. Otherwise, you'll have screaming babies, you will be stressed out, and you will not know how to handle it. Speaking from experience. Also, keeping them on the same schedule, which is pretty much what you do with your kids anyway. You have breakfast at the same time, lunch at the same time, dinner at the same time, but also nap time at the same time and bedtime at the same time. So when they're super little, sometimes that can be hard because one of them starts their growth spurt sooner, one of them starts their growth spurt later, all kinds of stuff. But the closer that you can get their activities, the better. And if they are all napping at the same time, then you know that you have a few minutes to do something. For me, it was being able to play with Ivy because she doesn't get a whole lot of mom time anymore because the babies take up all my time. The other thing is not to push your baby to do anything because it will just stress you out. So finally, instead of waking up all of the babies when it was time to eat, I would just pull out the ones who woke up and who were hungry. This meant that I didn't get as much sleep, but my sanity was a little bit better because instead of struggling with the baby to try to get her to eat something because her sister woke up, I just let her sleep. And it meant that I didn't get as much sleep. I was tired more often, but for me that worked. And what ended up happening is that after they all went through their growth spurts at whatever time that they wanted to, they all went back to the same schedule. And that's another thing, because they're going to go through their own process at their own time, and it's going to mess with your schedule. But it goes back for the most part. Or you find a new normal or whatever. But it's fine. That's how it works. It's fine. Introducing food. With babies, when you're introducing food, obviously you already know that with your baby you want to introduce one thing of food at a time. Well, with triplets, you want to introduce that one thing of food to all three of your babies at the same time. One food, all three babies. And then however long it takes, then the next food for all three babies at the same time. Somebody told me to do 3 different foods for each baby. And I'm like, that's gonna make me go nuts. For them, it worked, and that's fine. When they're super tiny and they are either breastfeeding or taking a bottle, it's a good idea to have a breastfeeding or bottle feeding book or whiteboard on the fridge. Something to tell you when she or he ate when and how much. So I had to do this at night. I didn't necessarily have to do it during the day because I could just remember. But at night it was really hard. So it was our nighttime feeding board. So what would happen is whenever the baby would wake up, we'd go get the baby, go into the kitchen, write down what time it is, and the ounces that we had put in the bottle. Then after feeding was over, we'd go back and write down what time it was and how many ounces they had eaten from the bottle. And by doing that, we could understand who ate when, and whenever they'd wake up again, we'd go check the board. Okay, would they still be hungry, or did they just need some snuggles and go back to sleep? That worked really, really well. But also during the day, when they're really little, if you're bottle feeding, you're going to want to have markers on the bottle so that you know whose bottle is whose, so you can keep track of how much food each one of them is eating. So for me, we used colored rubber bands. So we took rubber bands, yellow, pink, and purple, because those are their colors, and we put them over their bottles, on their binkies, things like that. And when they're super little, though, you don't have to separate their clothes. They can wear the same. That's fine. It's when they start recognizing their own clothes, which I would, with Ivy, was somewhere around 2.5 to 3. Then she started recognizing that, oh, I love this shirt. This is one that I wore last week to my friend's house or whatever. Then I'd say yes, mark their clothes, because then they're just gonna be upset. Sissy's wearing my shirt, and those were the pants that I had on last week. Why is she wearing them? That kind of thing. So, diaper changes. I did the diaper changes all at the same time, usually. Because if one of them needed to be changed, likely was, all of them needed to be changed. And in the rare chance that somebody didn't need to be changed, I would just leave them. But for the most part, though, I always changed all the diapers at the same time. And I still do, because it's just easier that way. It's hard when you change one butt and then you go to do something and your mind thinks, oh, did I change the diapers? And then you go, well, I changed somebody. Who did I change? Obviously, you can go check their butts and see who's dirty and who's not. But for me, it just made it more chaotic, more crazy. And it was easier to just sit there, change all 3 diapers, and be done. If you are somebody who is contemplating between a play yard, playpen area, or baby safety gates around the house, I would say baby safety gates. Do not do a playpen. They will get so bored of that playpen so fast. Just baby gate your house. Baby gate off a large area where they can play. Someplace that you will be in most of the time and that you can easily get out of and get back into. I keep all of the toys in the toy room, except that there is one shelf in the living room where I allow them to have some toys in the living room. The toys can switch back and forth between the living room and the toy room, but if there are too many toys in the living room and they do not all fit on the shelf, then some of them need to go back to the toy room. And this helps me to keep my house organized. Also, in the toy room, they don't have shelves, they don't have, like, it doesn't have to stay perfectly organized. they have buckets where they toss in all of their toys. And then this way it makes it super easy for Ivy and the babies to pick up at the end of the day. They just pick up a toy. Where does this go? It's a stuffed animal. It goes in the stuffed animal box, and they just toss it in. Anna. Anna. No eating rocks. Violet is so dizzy. She looks like a drunk person. Chop. You wanna go sit out there with Char? Go pee. No. Go pee. Hey, hey, hey. No biting. me to put that on you? Yeah, okay.
The wishing tree has heard you, True. It is time to get your 3 wishes. I'm ready.
Where's the sissies?
Share your wonderful wishes with me.
Where are they? They're gonna get you. You're gonna run. Are you scaring Sissy? Are you scaring Sissy? Hi, Anna.
But without her heart, Te Fiti began to crumble.